Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. So today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 3rd chapter, and we're doing 6 through 8. So let me see, let me share the screen. Jago Kinara Gandharvas Tutushvu Siddhacharanaha Vidyadarascha Nanritur Apsarobhik Samamuda. And then Jagur recited auspicious songs. Kinara Gandharva, the Kinnaras and Gandharvas, inhabitants of various planets in the heavenly planetary system, Tushvuhu offered their respective prayers. Siddhacharanaha, the Siddhas and Charanas, other inhabitants of the heavenly planets, Vidyadarya Cha, and the Vidyadaris, another group of inhabitants of the heavenly planets, Nanitruhu, danced in transcendental bliss. Apsarobihi, the Apsaras, beautiful dancers in the heavenly kingdom, Samam, along with Muda, in great jubilation. Translation: the Kinnaras and Gandharvas began to sing auspicious songs. The Siddhas and Charanas offered auspicious prayers, and the Vidyadharis, along with the Apsaras, began to dance in jubilation. So, we'll continue. Translation for 7 and 8. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of the night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was in the same category as Sri Krishna. And the purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kiladma Bhutto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This verse indicates that Krishna and his entourage are of the same spiritual potency, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Krishna's father, mother, his friends, the cowherd boys, and the cows are all expansions of Krishna, as will be explained in the Brahma Vimoha Lila. When Brahma took away Krishna's associates to test the supremacy of Lord Krishna, the Lord expanded himself again in the forms of the many cowherd boys and cows, all of whom, as Brahma saw, were Vishnu Murtis. Devaki is also an expansion of Krishna, and therefore this verse says, Devakyam Deva Rupinyam Vishnu Sarva Guhas Shayaha. At the time for the Lord's appearance, the great sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers at the seashore. There was a sound of mild waves, and above the sea were the clouds in the sky which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who is residing within the heart of every living being, appeared in the darkness of the night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead before Devaki, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at that time could be compared to the rising full moon in the sky on the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, there could be no rising of the full moon. In answer to this, it may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty, which is in the hierarchy of the moon. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty, wherein the moon is himself the original person, the moon was in an overjoyous condition. So by the grace of Krishna, he could appear as a full moon. To welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the waning moon became a full moon in jubilation. Instead of Deva Rupinyan, some texts of Srimad Bhagavatam clearly say Vishnu Rupinyan. In either case, the meaning is that Devaki has the same spiritual form as the Lord. The Lord is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, and Devaki is also Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Therefore, no one can find any fault in the way that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, appeared from the womb of Devaki. Those who are not in full knowledge that the appearance and disappearance of the Lord are transcendental, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, are sometimes surprised that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can take birth like an ordinary child. Actually, however, the Lord's birth is never ordinary. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is already situated within the core of everyone's heart as Antaryami, the Supersoul. Thus, because he was present in full potency in Devaki's heart, he was also able to appear outside her body. One of the 12 great personalities is Vrishnadeva. Svayambur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Pralada Janako Bhishma. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhishma is a great personality to be followed by devotees. Says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in the core of everyone's heart, just as the sun may be on everyone's head. Yet although the sun may be on the heads of millions and millions of people, this does not mean that the sun is variously situated. Similarly, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has inconceivable potencies, he can be within everyone's heart, and yet not be situated variously. Ekatvam anupashyataha. The Lord is one, but he can appear in everyone's heart by inconceivable potency. Thus, although the Lord was within the heart of Devaki, he appeared as her child. According to the Vishnu Purana, therefore, as quoted in the Vaishnava Toshani, the Lord appeared like the sun, Anugrahasaya. The Brahma Samhita confirms that the Lord is situated within the atom, Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam. He is situated in Mathura, in Vaikuntha, in the core of the heart. Therefore, one should clearly understand that he did not live like an ordinary child in the heart of the womb of Devaki, nor did he appear like an ordinary child, although he seemed to do so in order to bewilder asuras like Kamsa. The asuras wrongly think that Krishna took birth like an ordinary child and passed away from this world like an ordinary man. Such asuric conceptions are rejected by persons in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajopisan Avyayatma Bhutanam Ishvaropisan. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is Aja, unborn, and he is the supreme controller of everything. Nonetheless, he appeared as the child of Devaki. This verse describes the inconceivable potency of the Lord, who appeared like the full moon. Understanding the special significance of the appearance of the Supreme Lord, one should never regard him as having taken birth like an ordinary child. Amagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sharakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So before I begin, I would like to request from everybody their blessings, especially the blessings of the senior most devotees, such as who's that behind there? Well, first of all, Adipush Prabhu. Behind you, who is there, Prabhu? Jai. Hare Krishna Prabhu's. Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna. Jai. So I would like to request the blessings of everyone, especially senior most devotees like Adipush Prabhu, that I may speak something that is in line with our Guru Parampara, that is enlivening and purifying to our hearts, and that our hearts themselves become fertile ground for the sublime that you should take root on. So today's verses are ecstatic. They're, for many years, we've been going through the Bhagavatam. And finally, we got to the 10th canto. And of the 10th canto, after, all the prayers of the demigods and everything, which were, quite extensive, now finally, we're getting to the point, to the chapter where the appearance of the Lord happens. And today is the verses where he actually appears. So how ecstatic is that? In verse, let's begin with verse 6. So it talks about the Kinnaras and Gandharvas that began to sing auspicious songs, the Siddhas and Charanas that offered auspicious prayers, and the Vidyadharis along with the Apsaras who began to dance in jubilation. So, in the synonyms here, they're just described as inhabitants of various planets in the heavenly planetary system. All of them are basically like these are like that. But who are they? Like, why didn't they just say the inhabitants of the heavenly planets? Well, it's because we first of all we see that it's the different races of living beings that are being described, and all of them are being overjoyed by the appearance of the Lord. The Kinnaras, they're the half animal, half human forms, and especially in Southeast Asia, in Thailand, and those places, you will see some of those Kinnaras. Like you will see the half bird, half man, or half woman forms that are in throughout all of their quote unquote mythology, right? So in the Greek, the Greeks talk about the minotaurs, right, which are half bulls, half man, and the centaurs, which are half man, half horse. So these beings, they are talked about throughout the different throughout the different civilizations throughout time, because they do exist in some of those higher planetary systems. Then you see the Gandharvas. The Gandharvas are Narada Muni is a Gandharva. He is one of those heavenly singers, and that is why it is said that they're the ones that are singing in here. Then you have the Siddharas and Charanas. The Siddhas and the Charanas, they are beings that have, when they're born with all the mystic potencies. That is what why they're called Siddhas. They, when you take birth there, you immediately have different different cities. I believe they're not as much or as full as the ones from the even higher planetary systems, because after these planetary systems, these are all planetary systems that are just between the Earth planet and the demigods. So the demigods are all of these that are being talked here are the Upadevas. The Upadevas are those who are like the lesser demigods. So Indra, and who is the demigod of the rain, or Vayu, who is the demigod of wind, or all of these, they're called devas, and they're like the big people. But these are the Upadevas, who are not as powerful or as high on the universal hierarchy of administration. And so there are even higher planetary systems than these, than the ones of the demigods, that where when you take birth there, you just do tapasya, where you're just doing all of these hardcore meditations and penances for the sake of purification of yourself. and beyond that, there is the planet of Lord Brahma. So these Siddhas and Charanas, they don't have, I believe that they don't have as much power as those ones that are born up there. So if you're planning on following the yoga ladder, this is how you generally go. You finish here in this lifetime, but it's not enough. So then you have to go to the Siddhas and Charanas, and that is not enough. So then you have to take birth in even higher. So it's probably better for you just to like chant Hare Krishna, and it will be a much shorter, much easier path. Okay, and the Vidyadharis, they're said to be beings that are born with the power to fly. Just like birds are born with the power to fly here, right? Then when you become there, when you become a Vidyadhari, you're able to just go ahead and fly there. But again, you have to have those pious credits to be born like that. And then the Apsaras, they're as Prabhupada here says, they're the beautiful dancers in the heavenly kingdom. So, and we have heard about some Apsaras in the Bhagavatam previously. Now, interestingly, my research has been taking me recently through tantric texts that talk about summoning, some of these beings, summoning the Apsaras, summoning the Bhutanis, which are the ghostly beings, summoning some of the what is it? The goddesses from the cremation grounds, and there's a whole bunch of these, and it's interesting when you read through this. It's some of it can be very scary, because of what is being described. Like people who generally summon these are people who want material comforts. They want something. Like for example, the Yakshinis, like Kubera, the demigod of the who is the treasurer of the demigods. He's a yaksha, and so the Yakshinis, you summon them when you want wealth, and so like there are all these different Yakshinis, and depending on who you call and how you call them, like that, they will be there. And there are Yakshinis in the mode of goodness. There are the ones in the mode of passion, and the ones in the mode of ignorance. But all of them, basically, it's about how you approach them, and also the modes that you will get, like different interactions. And it's very interesting because when you begin to have connection with them, it is said one of the things that you have to do is first of all, ask for permission to contact. So you can't just contact these different, you have to ask for permission. And who do you ask? Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the one that puts you in contact. So it's interesting because also in our tradition, who is the one who allows us into Vrindavan? Who is the protector of the Dham? It's Lord Shiva, right? Gopeshwar Mahadev. So he is there to to establish that connection, to allow you to contact these other realms, and he's also the one who allows us to enter into Vrindavan, to allows us to contact this higher realm. Also, when you do these kind of procedures. It's you have to do certain sadhanas to be able to contact these beings, and generally it has to do with doing some mantras and some pujas. There is that, and it's again, you have to chant certain mantras for a certain number of times, like chant this mantra for 1,000 times for 40 days, or generally it's a month to 3 months, like that these things are. And you go like, oh well, we're also trying to contact the spiritual world by chanting on our japamala, by with our chanting is there, but we don't just want to contact yakshinis or bhutanis or apsaras like that. We want to contact Radha and Krishna. We want to contact the devotees in the spiritual world, and the pujas that we do are also for that. In love, we're calling out to the Lord. And one of the things that happens is that when you're doing these sadhanas, you're going to be prevented from finishing it, because these beings, they're going to test you. They're going to test you, on your resolve to be able to finish it. And they will do a lot of things, like they will, for example, come to you in forms of your friends, of your family, of your enemies, and try to stop you from doing it. And so you could have, like one day, you're ready to do your sadhana, and suddenly, your friend comes to you saying like, oh, I have a stomachache. Can you take me to the doctor? And so, you're like, okay, do I do my sadhana? Do I go like that? So there are all of these things that these beings will do to prevent you from performing it. But in order to help you on that, before you start all of this, you have to do certain mantras to Lord Ganesh, so that for the success of your endeavors, so that he will remove some of the obstacles and allow you to finish your sadhanas, to your vows that you have taken to do this. So it's interesting, because also when you do yagyas, if you notice, you call upon Lord Ganesh or Vishvaksena, to help remove the obstacles to finishing that yagya. And also, we pray to Lord Nrsingadev, and Lord Ganesh is a devotee of Lord Nrsingadev. Why do we pray to Lord Nrsingadev? Because we want him to remove the obstacles from us, performing our sadhana, performing our bhakti to the Lord. So in many ways, you can see that the people who are following this, they're being directed almost in the same way, but the goal is just a little different. It's just like, if you just take all of this and just like redirect it a little bit more, you could get Krishna instead of just wealth, like that. And there are also like certain mantras at the end, that one important thing also in all of this is that these mantras have to be given by a guru, so that they will have potency. And guess what? We take initiation, we accept a guru so that he will give us the mantra. Well, he or she will give us the mantra, and then we can continue on our path. So the guru is very important here. in receiving that potency of the mantra, being connected in that way. And also there's like this special mantra that even if that person doesn't, if you've done everything, if you've tried to do everything, because sometimes these beings, they will come in, they will try to divert you by a distraction, by lust, or by fear. You could be doing your sadhana, your puja, and suddenly a snake comes, or whatever you fear the most will appear in front of you, just to take you away from that. But if you're able to like do all of this, finally get it, and the being does not appear, then there's a mantra that you can chant to Lord Shiva, so that that being will appear, and that being has to give you whatever it is that you that was in the contract, for that being. Some of these yakshinis, you have to say like, like address them as mother, or as a friend, or as a wife, or different things. You have this assurance by Srila Prabhupada that if you do this, you will get the goal. If you follow the 4 regulative principles, if you follow chanting your 16 rounds, if you're a servant of the servant of the servant, you're assured that you will get the goal. You will get Krishna. You don't have to worry about calling on anybody else, and you can get it within this lifetime also. So if one of the things that has just become clear to me, by reading all of this process, is that actually how special our process is, how beautiful it is that we can call upon the Lord, for love, for the chance to serve, rather than calling to be served. It's very hope giving, at least for me, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. Now, in the next verse, we're hearing Prabhupada describing the appearance of the Lord, and he tries to make very clear to us how special it is, that it is not like an ordinary person taking birth. Now, right now we're in the I think that tomorrow is Easter, right? And so there's it's the whole thing about Jesus coming into into this kingdom, and for Passover and all of these things. And one of the things that is very much discussed in Christian theology is the fact that was his mother a virgin or not, right? Because they're trying to establish his birth was special, like that. So because you would they're trying to establish his divinity. Now in here it's saying, well, is the appearance of the Lord special or not? Because when God appears in this world, does he appear just like an ordinary child? And Prabhupada here is saying, no, it is not. And he didn't just take birth. He did not just appear, at that moment. It is like the sun rising over the horizon. So the sun is always there. This is the idea behind it. The sun is always there, but only when it comes above the horizon, are we able to see it? It's not that it did not exist before. It was always existing. Only at that time, when we saw it rising, did we have a chance to see that it was there. So likewise, Prabhupada here is saying, Krishna is in the hearts of everyone. He is in the hearts of everyone. Therefore, when you look at these, when you see Krishna take birth, it's not that he just took birth there like everybody else does, but he was always existing, and now you're able to see him. And furthermore, you would say like, well, why didn't he just appear out of nowhere? Why did he have to take birth from a woman? And they say like, this is no ordinary woman. She has the same her nature is not that of like a conditioned being, where we have this body that is just bringing us so much difficulties, right? It's a body that is engaging us. It's a body. No, her body and her soul are of the same type as the Lord's, which is Satchit Ananda. It's purely spiritual, and therefore this was not an ordinary birth. Furthermore, as we will see in further chapters here, the Lord didn't just appear like a normal baby. He had 4 arms. He had and he was fully decked. He had a crown. He had jewels. He was ready. He had the Sudarshan chakra and like that, and was still a baby. With all of this, babies don't take birth like that. You can put a crown like that after they're born, but not being born immediately like that. So the Lord wanted to show like, yeah, look, I am Vishnu. I don't mistake me for somebody else. And when she prayed to him, he then turned into like the 2-handed form. So let's see. There's a lot of interesting things today. Today is Balaram Rasa Yatra, Krishna Vasanta Ras, the appearance or disappearance day of Vamsivadana Thakur and Shyamananda Pandit. So I'll briefly speak on some of these. Let's see, how much I can get into all of them. So let's start with Balaram, the rasa dance of Lord Balaram. It is explained in the Bhagavatam and also in the summary study of this that Srila Prabhupada made as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that when Krishna left Vrindavan with Lord Balaram, the inhabitants of Vrindavan were suffering very much. They were suffering so much. And so at some point, Balaram, he said, like, we can't do this to them. We have to. He was telling Krishna, like, we have to go. We have to visit them at least. Because they're first of all, like we are suffering due to their not being with them, but also they're suffering a lot because of not being with us. When Krishna sent Uddhava described how pitiable their condition was, and so Balaram, he was just saying like, okay, if you're not going to go, I'm going. Krishna said, like, I can't go at this moment because first of all, like all of my relatives here in Mathura, they're not going to allow me. They know that if I go, I may not come back. So they won't allow me. And second of all, I made a promise to everyone there that I would return. And it's been so long. It's been years and years since. If I go there and I tell them again that, oh yeah, well, I have to go back now, but I will return. They're not going to believe me. They're going to stop me from doing it. So, you brother, you please go, for both of us. And you can always come back and say like, oh yeah, like I'm going to bring him back or something. So Balaram went by himself, and it is explained that when he got there, it was such a big jubilation for everyone. His parents, they bathed him in tears, and even though he was like fully grown up, they put him on his lap, on their laps. I don't know if anybody has done this, as an adult, but it it's a little bit different from when you were a baby. I mean, when you get on your parents' laps like that. But for them, it was still their child. They still wanted, to have Balaram with them. And Balaram saw that, yeah, like everyone was grown up. When they left, they were still children. Krishna, I believe, left when he was 12. And now they were, Balaram was returning as, one of the kings of the Yadu dynasty. So Angelica says that, yes, it is different when my dad holds me on his lap sometimes. Yeah. So when when Balaram came, he just saw like all of his friends growing up, all of the gopis growing up, but he addressed each one in according to their relationship. So with the younger, he gave blessings. With the ones that were on the same level as him, he would just like embrace and joke and everything like that. And with the elders, he would pay his obeisances. It is explained that Mother Yashoda, it is explained that Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they addressed him as Jagadish. That, oh Jagadish, like you have not, we've missed you so much. But there was a little bit of sarcasm in their tone, because Jagadish means the Lord of the universe, one who nourishes everyone, one who sustains the universe. And basically they were saying like, well, you sustain everyone, but you forgot about us. You're killing us here. So the acharyas explain that only the devotees have this level of trust with the Lord, where they're able to chastise him. It is said that the Lord is more pleased with the chastisements of the gopis than he is with all of the praises and glorifications from the from the Vedas and the Brahmins. And this you could see after the pastime of the lifting of Govardhan, when all the demigods came in and started performing all of these pujas for the Lord. And they were very exuberant. Imagine that, all the demigods take their best paraphernalia, their best singers, and they're starting to do all of this puja. But the Lord was even more pleased when afterwards his friends started just jokingly, performing the same puja with him, and all of the inhabitants, his mother and father, and all of that, just in a joking mood. He likes it more because there's love. He likes it more because there's not all of this awe and reverence. When Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj were sort of like sarcastically chastising him, they were doing it out of love. and he likes that more. So after this happened, he was very interested in meeting separately with the gopis, because he had a special message for them from Krishna. And when he goes, and when he went in the evening to meet secretly with the gopis, he gave this message to them, and it was that it was an apologetic message where Krishna was trying to pacify them, saying that he was sorry he was not with them, that basically like he's always in their hearts, to please meditate upon him. And it was just like very, and the gopis were just like not having it. they were just like does he ever think of us at all? And they were saying, he has all of those queens there, right? And they're like so sophisticated and all that, and we're just like simple cowherd girls. So why would he ever think of us, when he has their association? And they were saying, and he must be very cunning with them, but I don't think that they will allow him, because we're just simple cowherd girls, and with these are girls that know, but he's so cunning that probably he has them under his spell as well. But at some point they said, like, but why are we even talking about Krishna? We shouldn't even think about him. He has forgotten about us, so we should also forget about him. But actually we can't. and they told Balaram that we make garlands every day for Krishna. Every single day we make garlands for him. But when he does not come at the end of the day for us to offer it to him, we just spend our time crying. And because Krishna told them that he would come back, and so every day they're thinking like, well, what if today is the day that Krishna is going to come? We should like make garlands and have preparations ready in case today's the day. Because if he comes and we're not ready, then it's like, oh, so they're like preparing every day. It was just very difficult. It was very very difficult for them. So Balaram tried to pacify them. Balaram tried to be very, very appeasing to them. And it is said that Balaram has his different, there's Krishna's gopis and Balaram's gopis. So there are these girls that are more attracted to Balaram, and these girls that are more attracted to Krishna, and they're different. In fact, like Balaram is very respectful of Krishna's gopis, even to the point where it is said that if he sees that there are stones that are sort of like golden in color, he knows that it is Radha that has passed alongside, so he will take a different path. And similarly, Radha, if she sees that there are some stones that look like they're like crystal like, she knows that it is Balaram that has passed by there, so she will take a different route. So they're very respectful of each other, not even crossing paths like that. And so Balaram, with his own set of gopis, he had rasa dance when he was there. And it is said that he spent 2 months in Vrindavan, and every single night he would do this rasa dance with them. He would be with them, and there is there was this gopi, that came there, Varuni, who is, I believe, that the daughter of the ocean, who was sent by her father, and she would supply Lord Balaram with a special nectar, which is called Varuni. And on Balaram's appearance day, we make that Varuni. But this one that she offered to him, it was an intoxicating drink. And so Lord Balaram, he got intoxicated, and he was just having a really nice time with them. By the way, we hear these pastimes and we relish them, but we do not imitate. So it is said that Lord Balaram, got so intoxicated at some point that he started, calling out to the Yamuna, who was, some space away from them, and saying, like, Yamuna, come here. We wanna have pastimes in the water with you. And Yamuna was like, he's drunk. I'm not going to listen to him. I'm not going to go. And Lord Balaram got so angry, that she didn't like immediately come there, that he took his plow and he said, like, you're misbehaving. You're not listening to me. So he started dragging the Yamuna and started, destroying it, like making it into all of these rivulets. And then she said, like, oh my God, like, he's serious about it. So she came, she asked, for forgiveness to the Lord, and she brought her waters for the Lord to be in them. And it said that that's why the Yamuna has like so many different rivulets nowadays. It's because of Lord Balaram's pastime there with her. And Lord Balaram, as I said, he spent 2 months before going back to Mathura. And this is, we commemorate this going of Lord Balaram to Vrindavan today. There's also the Krishna Vasanta Ras, because it is said that Lord Krishna, he began his Rasa Leela dance a year after the whole incident of Govardhan Hill and the Indra trying to destroy Vrindavan. And when he started it, he started it during the month of Kartik, in the full moon of the Sharad Purnima, and he did it every single night after that. But this one was like the big one, the first one, the big one. But there was another big one that happened during the spring, and that's the one that we're celebrating today. The one in fall, we hear in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto. There's 5 chapters dedicated to that. And in this one, we hear about how the gopis, some of them were prevented from going to this because of their parents. Their parents locked them and said, like, no, you're not going. And they just, from their houses, they just had to be with Krishna in their heart. And it is said that it was these were gopis that in previous lives had become perfected, but had yet not attained the level of full perfection. And so this was like the last little bit that they had to go through in order to be able to be with the Lord. Now, this did not happen in the spring. In the spring, everyone was allowed to come. And so likewise, the acharyas talk about how the pastimes at Srivas Angan with Lord Chaitanya. The very beginning of those pastimes of Lord Chaitanya with the devotees having kirtans, it is said that these pastimes happened at the house of Srivas Thakur, and that these pastimes were non-different from the Rasa Leela. And the beginning of these pastimes at Srivas Angan, only certain devotees were allowed to go in there. It wasn't that everybody was allowed into Srivas Angan. Only those devotees who had very pure hearts were allowed in. And so it is said, the acharyas say that this was like the rasa dance during the autumn season. But when finally the whole pastime of the Kashi coming in and destroying the mridangas and saying nobody can do any public display of kirtan. So that's when Lord Krishna took the Harinam out into the streets. And so the acharyas say this type of kirtan that was done in the streets was like the rasa dance during the spring, where all the gopis were allowed, because now everybody was allowed into the kirtan. Everybody saw Lord Chaitanya now dancing. Now everybody was singing with him like that. So in Harinam, when you go today to Harinam, you can think about the pastime of Krishna, having the Vasanta Ras with all of these gopis and allowing everybody to come in. There is also today the appearance or disappearance day of Vamshivadan Thakur. There is very little information about him, but it is said that when he was born, it was at a time. At that time, there were two personalities in his house when he was born, and it was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya. They were staying at his home when he was born. So he is very, very special. In fact, in the Gauraganda Deshdipika, it is said that he is the incarnation of Krishna's flute. And he lived in Kulia. And then when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, then he went to Mahaprabhu's house, and he was the one who would take care and protect of Mother Sachi and of Vishnupriya. And in fact, after Vishnupriya left this world, he took the deity that she was worshiping, the deity that Mahaprabhu manifested for her to worship, because she was saying, how will I live without you? So the Lord manifested this deity. So he took that deity to Navadvip, and his descendants. He had two sons. Can you guess what their names were? Chaitanya Das and Nityananda Das. So these two sons, their descendants, they are the ones that are continuing the worship of his deities. So that's all the information that I got from Vamshivadan Thakur. And Shyamananda Pandit, I'm sorry, but I don't think that I have enough time to speak about him. I've spoken about him on previous times, but let's see. I'm going to open up right now since we have 4 minutes. If there are any questions, is that Arjuna Prabhu there? I can't see it. I obeisance Arjuna Prabhu.
So Angel put a question in the chat. She was asking if you could tell where it says about the gopis, like how they making fun of people. She wanted to kind of bookmark that. So if you have that.
Okay. Well, they were not making fun of people. They were making fun of Krishna specifically. Yeah. This is in I think chapter 56 of the Krishna book. I'm not entirely sure. It's when Lord Balaram comes back to Vrindavan. So they're making fun like that, but they were specifically targeting Krishna because out of love, and only they are able to do something like that. At least for us, we are a little bit more respectful since we're not on their level. Are there any other comments?
Looks like Shikshashtaka Prabhu has his hand up.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, I liked what you were saying about the when you were talking about the goal of the demigods and how we can achieve the same goal, but then you started saying about the process of Krishna consciousness as serving. Service is Lord Chaitanya was instructing that the beginning, middle, and end of Srimad Bhagavatam is all about service. Yeah. So it's more like a journey instead of an end, because we just want to serve Krishna birth after birth.
Yeah, definitely. It's in Krishna consciousness, the goal and the means are the same. We're serving so that we can serve more.
Right. Thank you very much for that comment.
Thank you. And Angelica, I saw your hand up also.
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear it.
Great. I feel the need to really ask this question because you mentioned, this beginning of the pastime of Lord Balaram being drunk and how we are not supposed to imitate, and later what comes in the pastime, I think can be seen as quite disturbing. I feel like it's a little bit disturbing to this idea of Lord Balaram wanting something from Yamuna Devi and her not complying with it and him just being angry at her. And I just really want to understand this pastime because I'm sure that how I'm just perceiving it right now is so tinged with the material experience.
Yes. It's thank you. Yeah, it's important to note that when we're talking about the Lord, the Lord is purely spiritual. He is Sachit Ananda Vigraha. He has a form which is eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. And the Lord is self-satisfied. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says that he is completely self-satisfied. He doesn't need anybody or anything to be satisfied. It's Atma Rama, right? And yet, for the sake of pastime, for the sake of pastime, he will expand, into different people, including the gopis. That is why Prabhupada says here that Mother Yashoda, the gopis, all of them, they're expansions of the Lord. So they're also there only to facilitate a rasa. Now, in the material world, everything is a perverted reflection, right? It is said that what it's like a tree that is looking over a lake, and the tree is real and it looks perfect up there. but over the water, everything is turned upside down. So the highest in the spiritual world is actually the lowest in the material world. Now, if you see, what is the lowest in the material world? If somebody cheats, it's horrible. But when Krishna cheats, it's wonderful, and we talk about it. And the greatest sannyasis talk about it, glorifying the Lord for cheating. When the Lord when he lies, he lies. The supreme absolute truth lies, saying, "No, I did not steal butter." We glorify him for doing that. So all of that is because he's doing it out of love. He's doing it because he wants to give pleasure to his devotees. And one of the things that is terrible, horrible in this material world is somebody getting drunk and acting out. Not only getting drunk, but it's just like acting out on that drunkenness. But when the Lord does it, it's amazing. In the spiritual world, it's the highest. When he does it, do you know how much people relish saying like, "Oh my God, last night I was so drunk. I can't even remember what I did." And they actually they sort of like that, saying like, "Oh, that was such a crazy night," blah blah blah, right? Well, imagine that the Lord actually does it. If we enjoy it to some degree, saying like, "Oh yeah, that was a crazy night," it's because that there is some pleasure in it, and so the Lord also wants to do that. But the difference is that when we do it, it creates a mess. We're out in the street, and we're tumbling, and the taxis really don't like it, when they pick up a drunk, because I'm not going to go into the details of what happens in a moving car when there's a drunk in there, but it's horrible, and there's like all these fist fights, and it's terrible. But when the Lord is there, it's actually something enjoyable, something nice. And yeah, like what happens with drunks, they're like, they'll start quarreling with people, right? Hey, why are you doing that? Are you looking at my girl? So Balaram, he was also playing that drunkenness, because later probably they were all laughing and saying like, "Oh my God, do you remember that time when Lord Balaram called Yamuna and she didn't come, blah blah blah." We are enjoying that, as a pastime of his, of him just like being like so drunk that he's like calling out for a river to come to him. It's something that's and Yamuna herself, she's here only for the pleasure of the lordships. She's here only to serve them. And so if we see like, why didn't she come at all like that? She was being covered by Yogamaya to not respond to him, so that this pastime would happen, so that he could get mad, so he could so that he could go like, "Hey Yamuna, why aren't you here? Come here. Why I'm going to do something to you like that." So it's when we talk about the Lord's drunk pastimes, it's actually something very enjoyable. When we talk about somebody else's drunk pastimes, sometimes it may be enjoyable and sometimes it may not be. But with the Lord, it's always for the pleasure. Jai. So I don't know if this helped you.
Thank you, Murli Gopal Prabhu. Very, very important disclaimers given. Don't imitate. Don't imitate. And I also personally appreciate the point how we call out to the Lord to serve, not to be served. So I really thank you for that. And thanks for everyone participating in this Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. We love you all. Thank you very much for tuning in regularly. Murli Gopal Prabhu, beautiful presentation. I had more questions, but you only left 6 minutes. Murli Gopal, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll mute you next time. I'm joking. 7:45. Okay. Andrea, beautiful smile. Jamuna Jaya says Jai. Suzanne, who's here. Arjuna Prabhu, Vinisha. Jason Prabhu, Angelica. Another Angelica. Angelica, is that your plenary expansion? Kartik. Yes, she says yes. Angel. He jokes because he loves you. Yes, that's true. Bhima Prabhu. Bhima Prabhu also loves you. Bhima Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Susan, Hare Krishna. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Murli Gopal Prabhu, thank you. Hare Krishna.